Mm. So welcome everyone to Akri's monthly community meeting for the month of April. Today we have a couple of announcements, and for agenda we don't have much, so we're gonna do an issue triage and we're gonna have an open discussion. So everyone who has any topics to discuss, today would be a great day to do that. So with that, Kate, do you want to get us started on the Kubecon announcement?
Sure. So Kubecon EU is in May, and because Akri's I guess we were a sandbox project just before the last Kubecon in North America, but not quite in time to kind of get some of those benefits. So now with Kubecon EU, we're going to check out those awesome things that we get for being a part of the CNCF. And so we get to have our own booth there, and then also we get virtual project office hours. So the exact time of those virtual project office hours will be announced in a few days on March 9th, and that'll be like a 30-minute session where anyone can see it on the schedule and they can hop in, and it can be a time where people can just ask about Akri or any questions they have, almost like a community meeting of sort, but a little bit larger. And it'd be interesting to see what comes of that.
Cool. I think you probably meant April 9th. I can fix that later, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Looking forward for that to that, Kate. Okay. So next, I think we're gonna start the issue triage. We can go to Akri and jump right in. Cool. So we can get started. I actually opened an issue today, but we can get started by this one. Hold on. It's better to do this. So I saw some active discussion on this today's morning. So I think this one says outdated sample, discovering and using OPC UA thermometers. And I saw new feedback today. So Kate, looks like this is still active. Do you want to wait a little bit or want to make that investigating?
I think we can move this potentially to in progress. I think we'll have probably a fix coming in on this. I think Fabian might take it on, but it's a really good enhancement. So essentially instead of using the .NET OPC UA server where you have to like build the servers themselves, this is like a PLC. It mocks a PLC OPC UA server, and it's containerized. So we could just run that in our cluster, but it will require us updating our sample away from like a thermometer scenario to like this PLC controller scenario. But yeah, I guess we could wait to move it to in progress until Fabian has said that he's officially interested in doing it, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And just to be fully on board on this is like our OnVIF simulation. So this will enable like an easy way where we can simulate the OPC UA server.
Yeah, it's similar to like how we have kind of a markdown on OnVIF camera simulation. This is an OPC UA one. And our current demo does that, like our end-to-end demo for OPC UA does make fake OPC UA servers, but it's just a long-winded process. While this is a little bit more, it's easier. It'll make it so that our OPC UA demo could possibly be as simple as our UDEV one.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So moved it to in progress. Next is this one, which is something I opened today's morning. As part of our O2 update dependency workflow, I noticed that it actually fails now the Clippy with Clippy errors, and it's about this. We're using OKO followed by function call. So it's kind of one error. I think it's just triggering in multiple test utils locations. So I think we can mark it as a good first issue.
Since it's breaking our builds right now, like I noticed your dependency update's not working,
Mhm.
should we maybe just prioritize pushing in the fix?
Yeah, actually, that's a good call. I actually wasn't sure if it's like if it already exists, or did we update some dependency that kind of pulled in something that would cause like a like some new error. Like, I wasn't sure if that's because of that, or if we kicked off a new build in main, would it trigger the same error?
Well,
I think the same. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it was probably already there, but like back a month ago, I had added that flag to auto fail builds on Clippy warnings. So it's probably just now cropping up. Well, actually, is this the okay or? That's weird though. Is that like, maybe it's like a new version of Rust? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it probably is a patch version of Clippy that when we run it this time, that new patch version of Clippy is automatically being used. And so sometimes that happens and all of a sudden Clippy has decided something is no longer standard. So it's probably just that Clippy updated their criteria and we now need to change it.
So Jake, are you interested in this one since you looked at similar issues in the past?
Yeah, I can probably knock that out pretty quickly.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna
yeah.
assign it to you. So remind me, what was your alias?
Ragnall, R-A-G.
R-A-G.
I might not be part of like the Akri team thing, so like I don't think I'll show up in there.
I can
okay.
I can add you to it, Jake, on a separate tab.
Okay, cool. So Kate, you're gonna take care of this. Thank you.
Yeah, and then maybe move it to in progress or something.
Yep. Sounds good. So next we have this, which is build and start camera capture, enter thread main panicked. Looks like an exception is thrown. Did anybody actually look at that? Kubernetes 123. Issue reoccurred after removal and reinstallation. So it looks like somebody was trying our UDEV video demo, and they run into that exception. So Kate, you looked at this already.
Yeah, this was a little back. I needed to jog my memory. Yeah, I just needed more clarification here to help them debug it. And they haven't responded at all. But this is an issue with their kernel modules not showing up. So essentially, like they're not, or it seems that the issue with this is that the kernel modules aren't being properly made or set up. So I think we just need more information here.
Okay, should we just keep it then, or because we can just close it, I assume, if it's like a user error, or do you want to move it to investigating maybe, so that since we looked at it and trashed it?
Yeah, maybe investigating is a good place for it. I'll also add another comment in there.
Okay, yeah, and we can maybe ping Elijah. Yeah. Cool. So next, use the admission controller from KubeRS for configuration validation. This looks like an enhancement.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about this. So when we originally made the webhook, when Daz made it, we kind of made it from scratch. Now KubeRS, which is the Kubernetes client that we use, the Rust Kubernetes client, has their own webhook admission controller implementation. So since we use KubeRS for other things, it would make sense for us to use their admission controller instead of us having to continue to update ours. The reason why this is important is, well, and this is easier now that we've updated to the latest KubeRS.
Okay, so maybe move it to backlog.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So next is this is like a log issue. Yeah, it looks like we can move. Kate, do you want to talk to that? I think since you opened it as well.
Yeah, so from my time when I was working a little bit with Crestlet, I found that they were way more preferential to read-write lock over mutex. And there are a lot of scenarios when it probably would be more efficient for us to be using read-write lock instead of mutex, just in the sense of if we only have one person owning the writes and everyone else is doing reads, it's better to have read-write lock, which is a lot of times our scenario when we have our controller just looking at instances. So this was just a recommendation to update to that.
Okay, moving it to backlog as well. And anybody on the call, please chime in if you're interested in picking up one of those issues. We can sign them to you. I think we have 2 more left. This one is an old one. I assume it just was stale and you just reopen it. That's why it went from to need triage again. So actually it's been a while. Did Giovanni reach out with any updates on this? Should we ping him?
Not very recently, but I just put the keep alive on this because I think we all of our learnings from co-op core are important to keep alive. So I think whether or not Giovanni comes back to it, we could take the implementation.
Should I move it to in progress since
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So our last one, improvements to implementing a new discovery handler doc. And I think those were suggestions by Giovanni as well. I know we iterated on that a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, I think not enough. I think that was one where I said I'll do it, and I don't think I came around to having the time to do it. And so that's why I reopened it, because that feedback is probably still valid. And so if someone else tries to make a new discovery handler, we can compare their feedback with this and maybe take some action steps.
So move it to backlog, maybe?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I think we're done with those ones, but maybe we can look into the issues that were marked as stale. Let's see. So we have a couple here. This one is actually in PR. It's been a while. So I think this one is about adding node selectors. What was the latest on this?
I think it just, it was a time thing. I think Kelly kind of ran out of time on it and had to let it go. Maybe Roa pop in a comment there asking him if he's willing to finish this off.
Yep. Why can't I add a comment?
I think all the way at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
A little bit.
Do you remember what was the status? Maybe you can just send it this way. Was it like some comments that were not?
I think this was where we had, we basically stagnated because Kelly didn't needed to get his commit signed, and it was just becoming a bit of a chore. So I think he might have stepped away because of that.
Okay, so I think that will remove the stale label and maybe give Kelly a couple of days to actually come back to this. Okay.
How long does it take for the stale label to go away? Because I noticed that I commented on one of the issues and it didn't go away.
Actually, I don't remember. Do we run that daily? Maybe, I think so. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it's on schedule, so I think it's gonna run some schedule. Yeah, so it runs at, yeah, I think probably 12 a.m. or something. So last time was April 4th. So just, I think, give it a day and that should remove it, I would say. Okay, going back here, we have a couple of RustSec issues. And I remember those ones were ones that you investigated, Kate, and were not, let's see, just read your comment. Yeah.
I think all the RustSec ones would be good to look back through. And I think most of the ones that were left alive, it was something where we needed to wait for things to update it out of our control.
So that, should I activate them and maybe see if the basin dependency updates will just get rid of them?
Activate the issues, or
yeah, that seems like, I think the chrono, for example, had a fix. So it's closed. So I guess if we activate the issue, and hopefully after checking in the auto update dependency, we'll be picking up the latest from chrono, and then the bot will automatically close the issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I didn't know that. You're saying the Rust security bot will close the issue?
Yeah, I believe it does. Maybe
Cool.
let me double check again. I can take that on myself to follow up on, but I believe it automatically closes the issue if it doesn't refer them anymore. So
Okay.
So actually they're still open. They're just marked as stale. So I think it's okay. I'll just keep them. I thought they were closed actually. So yeah. Okay, so we can reevaluate after dependency update is run again, and hopefully those will go away. But, so next is this, which is I think this is the one matching this is the PR that matches the issue we just trashed, right?
Yeah, maybe add a
Keep alive.
comment that, yeah.
Sounds good. 2 more to go. What do you think about this one, Kate?
I think that one can be let to go. I don't see us prioritizing time into that. But I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. And I don't think the original creator for that bug is interested. I mean, they're no longer interested in this combination of Akri and KubeEdge. So maybe they moved to using something else other than KubeEdge in this case. Yeah, I don't think we have a motivation to fix it. Okay, so we'll keep that one. This is another one. Maybe we should, I actually don't know about the ACPID protocol. I'm not sure.
So that's like headphone jack. So for speakers and headphones. So it doesn't quite work for UDEV because either those devices aren't discovered or it requires a larger grouping of dev nodes for the headphone jack. And so ACPID can give you events like plugged in, unplugged, and we could use that to predict what needs to be done. So I think we had a good investigation of what an implementation will look like here, but there's no one taking it on. That being said, I don't know if this one should close out or should stay open.
It seems like maybe something we can keep it alive and maybe prioritize if we get more people interested.
Yeah, I think we should maybe establish what we want to do for feature requests that are exciting. Is that a keep alive in general, or is that a closeout?
Yeah, I would vote for like a keep alive, because I mean, one of our goals is really like have different protocols implemented and used by different scenarios. So this one specifically, I would put it like the co-op one, but I would love to hear what others think as well. Brian, Vince, Jake.
I mean, if no one's taking it, I mean, I think keep alive makes sense because, I mean, this is a valid protocol that someone could want that Akri doesn't have. So like maybe just some sort of index of like what protocols we want to, or Akri should eventually support. Maybe like a label for that or something. It's like a subset of enhancement. That being said, this is interesting to me because I was looking at some of the like the device handler code, and I mean it seems pretty complex, but I don't know, maybe I could take a stab at it just to try to get my hands dirty in this code.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to try it out. We can, if you want to look at it a little before being assigned to it, that's cool too. You could just comment on it and say like, hey, interested in looking at this. From what I remember, like you can see the additional context line there. There's two things here. You would need to create a discovery handler that can notice the events. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, Roa, I linked kind of what I think would be the implementation. So there's a Rust also library, and I think also is I need to refresh myself on this, but it is a way of detecting those ACPID events. And then I think we can't have a nuanced approach of what we mount. And so you would just have to mount the entire dev/sound directory, because there are so many nodes that are sometimes a part of one device. And I think that would be a good first implementation. And then in the future, if we found that we could have a more nuanced approach of what we mount, then we could reduce that to more specific dev nodes.
Okay, yeah, I can look I'll look at the also protocol a little bit and see what I can. Yeah, let me look at this. I'll message you on Slack or something when I get a little better idea of what I'm looking at here.
Cool. Yeah, I think the objective of this is on a high level, try and figure out how to handle headphone jack devices. If that's ACPID, and also great if there's something else out there that does that same thing, even better or possibly better.
I can investigate, and yeah, I'll talk in the channel based on what I see on this.
Cool. So I think Roa, for this, we can at least take the stale off and maybe put a keep alive. And I think Jake, your original comment also was a good point. Maybe we create a separate label for discovery handlers.
Yeah, maybe we should have like a protocol label or something, or like discovery handler, and actually I think the bot, you can give it like a bunch of labels that they would ignore. So in this case, we would actually ignore those ones. So yeah. A suggestion too.
Maybe we create an issue for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I think this one is done.
And then that also brought up a good point. What you were saying, Jake, we do have a roadmap with Akri, and I think it might also be because we do have time in this meeting, unless people have topics. This also might be, anyways, it might be a good time to look at our roadmap and see how we want to adjust that. Not necessarily this roadmap, but the one in our documentation. So docs.akri.sh.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, within docs. And think community.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things here. Implement additional discovery handler and protocols we're thinking about supporting. So yeah, I think
So that new broker deployment strategy one needs to be updated now that we have job brokers.
yeah.
And then I think we should reword this. Instead of saying protocols, we are thinking about adding support for, maybe we say like protocols that would be powerful for Akri to support. Something that it's like more focused on we would love community help with, because I think this can be misleading in saying this is like something we have time to do. So maybe we say protocols we would love to be contributed.
So then maybe by that token, the ACPID might not be what I would want to look at, or maybe just because we probably want some sort of priority on, protocols that would be like, most powerful to have versus like least powerful. And that would be the relative priority of those.
Yeah. Maybe Ro, you can add co-op into there. I think that's a good point, Jake. I think also this isn't in a clear order. I think it's capital A, capital P.
Yeah, I was trying. It didn't look right. Is that the way?
Lowercase o.
Yeah.
And then yeah. To what you're saying, Jake, I think yeah, if we had a priority, that'd be great. I think it's really hard to prioritize because yeah, a question of if we want to add ACPID here, but
yeah,
it's hard to prioritize because there are so many users with so many different devices. So how do we say what people want to use? That being said, I think zero conf and co-op are priorities because we have the implementations out there. We just need to put those PRs in. But it probably would be best for the people who originally contributed those to pick them back up. Or wanna, yeah. So, but I mean, Bluetooth would be awesome, but I don't think that would necessarily be simple. But if we could do Bluetooth, that would be really cool.
Yeah, there was that other one protocol. Oh my God, I have a very bad memory. The one we always get asked about, Kate.
MQTT.
Yes, thank you.
I would not put that on here.
Yeah.
I feel like MQTT is also one that someone has done a minimal implementation for. But I think we aren't quite sure about. Yeah.
It's controversial. So okay. Okay, I can. Do you want me to commit directly, or I cannot commit? Thank you. Okay.
I think we can also update this even more because I need to update the new broker deployment strategies.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I think we could link in the issues for the ones that are in progress or have minimal implementations too.
Okay, I'll keep that on you then. I'll open an issue to track updating that.
Okay, cool.
And I'll just put it here so I don't forget about that. But yeah, I have two issues to open at this point.
Wonderful. Always taking those action steps.
So I think is there anything else you want to look into the closed issues, since we have some time now as well?
Like the ones that were automatically closed because of stale?
Yeah. Well,
I think stale, yeah.
Closed, yeah, here we go. And I think those are sorted, yeah, by the newest. So 2 days ago, I assumed those ones. Yeah, this one I actually saw it and I thought that, do we want to actually keep it? So this suggestion about creating a web UI, I remember Vinay started actually looking into some implementations. But did it go anywhere beyond like design or?
Yeah, I was looking, shoot, okay.
I don't
There's no
remember they
response.
send any PRs though, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'm moving too quickly. Where do you want me to post for the?
Can you go all the way to the bottom to the point at which I didn't respond? Okay, so I think maybe I will revive this. I'll comment on it.
Okay, so it's issue 384 in case.
Okay, cool. I'll reply to that.
Yeah, and I don't think the stale bot will open issues. I don't know. I think it will just maybe remove labels. I'm not sure actually if it will open closed issues.
That's okay. I think we can still have a conversation with it being closed.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it wouldn't be open. Okay. So I have a couple of more interesting ones. Maybe if they see the back. So we have this one, cluster setup flow from microcase 0.21819. Is that still the case? Okay. So I think that was the last suggestion. And you actually closed it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think with this, it was maybe I added, oh yeah, I did change. So I changed to point to our supported versions in our document. Let me double check on that.
Yeah,
so I think I probably could have, yeah, I think I probably linked there what the change was, latest.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I'm not sure why it shows up here.
Oh, I think it was stale. It was given the stale label, and then it was closed from a PR. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I think, okay, so I think we're good. But like, yeah, I mean, they're sorted by, okay, then maybe that's the only one. I mean, we should stop here then. I think this was close 2 days ago, then probably those ones are too old to look at. So I think we're good.
Yeah, I think also, yeah. I was gonna say, no, never mind. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I just checked. I do point now to the release notes.
Yeah, okay. Then I think that was the only one then in the stale and closed.
Perfect.
Perfect. So I think we're going back to our agenda here. We're done with the issue triage and now an open discussion. Any topics, anyone?
One that I would bring up is I think it'd be nice to, so we had like a big feature for our last release, jobs, and I think it'd be nice to figure out what are some of the things that we might want in our next release. I think we have some issues up that would be really good for our next release, just as like kind of important maintenance work. And it would be nice to like point to a few and kind of prioritize those. So one of them would be modify the agent to reduce the frequency of pods getting unexpected emission error. I think that's like a bigger change with few lines of code. Like I think it's an important change that is only, it's like the fourth one down row. I think that's the one that would be really good to have. Yeah. And another one is like an older one that I don't remember exactly where it is, but essentially updating our device's properties. When we discover a device with the same name. So for example, say we find an IP camera on a certain IP address, but then that IP camera updated its scope to be called something different. So to have a different name, we don't update the instance because we define the instance by its IP address, or some combination of IP and MAC. So we should be checking to see if there's updates in the identifying properties of the device so that we can propagate that into an instance.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where that is. But yeah, I think I agree, and I think that's the agent one is definitely was interesting. Yeah, I'm actually also it's been a while. I remember that the allocate thing was in testing, so it was kind of a close to approval, and I'm wondering if it actually made it to 124 or not, but I can follow up on that as well. It would be cool to get rid of our slot reconciliation logic.
That's going to be an interesting thing to do as well. I think if we do that, we might need for a couple Kubernetes versions to create a whole new set of builds specifically for that, because we want backwards compatibility.
Yep.
At least for a little bit.
Yeah, that's correct, actually.
But how about I'll go ahead and grab a couple of those issues that I'm mentioned, instead of you having to filter through and find them, and I'll put them in the meeting notes and say, like, these are kind of things we want to target for the next release. I think also ideally we would get a protocol in the next release. I think it'd be really nice if we every couple releases brought a protocol in. Maybe we can revive co-op or ZeroConf. I think ZeroConf's a really powerful scenario.
Yeah.
So like for folks who aren't familiar with it, ZeroConf is MDNS based devices with a discovery service on top of it. So very cool.
Okay, sounds great. I'm looking actually at the assignee on the right side. I wonder if we at some point need to, like, move things back to unassigned, just in case the person assigned to is not actively working. So maybe others can like take a stab on it, but maybe, something we can think a little bit more about. And I could see I have one investigation now. I need to start pinging.
Yeah,
that one.
That actually might be something worth doing right now, like, because we do have this time going through each of the ones that have an assignee and just pinging whoever's assigned and saying, hey, are you still able to work on this? Otherwise, removing them.
Okay, Brian, I'm starting behind you. Sorry, you're the first on the list. I'm not putting you under the spot or something. So I think this one is 2 consecutive dashes. So we had this part here. Keith, was that fixed actually?
Here, let's scroll down, because I remember looking into this and oh yeah.
Okay.
Conclusion.
Oh, it looks like a bug with Kubernetes version 126.22.6.
Yeah, okay, so I think we can close this potentially. So basically when I don't know why, Brian, you got assigned to this.
Lucky.
I think maybe
you self-assigned, Brian.
Yeah. I think you were triaging the issues last, like, I think the meeting in March 1st, and you probably assigned it to yourself to like close it and follow up on, my guess.
I think we can close this.
Okay.
But
okay, I'll close it and point to your comment above. Okay. Cool. Isn't that great? Just closing books easily. Where did I go? Okay. So this one is assigned to myself. I think this was the one on Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. I think we were initially suspecting they were not configuring the CTL. I mean the control container runtime correctly. And
that was one half of the issue. And then there was another issue with their brokers restarting, I believe, because they were hitting, we do, yeah, a Kubernetes API watch, and our Kubernetes client, they kept hitting the line that is thrown whenever the like API watch restarts, which I believe we bubble up into an error and then the pods restart. We recover state in Akri, so it's fine. Like all of the instances were recreated, or like everything came back, but it is curious why it kept restarting. And so I wanted to see if updating kubers would help.
yeah,
I think,
go ahead.
which Jake did all of that. And then I think now it would be a good time to see if we're properly using the latest Watcher implementation.
Yeah, and I think one takeaway from this kit was we actually don't have right now a setup. I think he was using a 9-node cluster, if I remember correctly, right? I think it was like
it was a larger cluster.
Yeah, so I wonder if we need to open an issue to actually track like kind of stress testing Akri maybe to some degree, or I mean 9-node is not stress testing, but at least kind of have a large cluster.
Yeah, I would also like to try out like 10,000 devices.
Yep.
We can just make some fake devices. I wonder if we could even use OPCUA, that new container, for that, or I think that might be, we could probably do debug echo and just make like a ton of descriptors. And I mean, this is on AKS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 8 nodes. Okay, so I think for this specific one, I'll keep it active. Should I unassign for me, or just I can follow up, or you can follow up? Do you want me to assign to you, Kate? Just whoever picks this up, I guess.
What does following up look like in this case? Beyond just yesterday I commented.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think if the issue still occurs, then it would be kind of troubleshooting a little bit more, trying to understand, and maybe trying to replicate the setup to some degree, I would say. Because ideally, I think at this point, they shared logs, and right? Maybe at this point, it seems like a local repro would be like the next step if they still can repro the issue. If not, then we're good, but then we can create this other issue of kind of doing a more like a larger cluster testing.
Yeah. I think it's fine to leave whoever's assigned, if that's me or you, whatever's fine. And we can look into maybe getting a large cluster set up and running.
Okay, I'll keep it and we can revisit if they come back to us. Sounds good. Oops, I will actually post this. So next, there are a couple assigned to you, Kate. This one, oh yeah, this is the Rust seg that we are thinking it will go away. Was it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'll check on this.
Okay, I'll keep it assigned to you then. And the node selector one, we pinged the Kelly on that, and then we have those other two that I think, yeah, those are the ones that I think we're thinking might go away since the Crony PR is closed. So those are the next two ones. This one is tail. Do we want to unassign?
I think it's fine to leave me assigned to both of those,
Okay.
just because I was looking into them, but
yeah, so you can pull up with any question. So I think we're good. And this is the slot reconciliation. So yeah, I'll just keep it on myself for now.
Okay.
Sounds good. Anything else we want to discuss? Cool. I think that was a good cleanup and discussion, a couple of good discussions. Anybody have anything for today? Otherwise, I think we can end up 10 minutes early. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah, for organizing all this.
Thanks, everyone, and see you next month.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye, everyone.